responsible freedom. It's interesting to me how much those two, sometimes really separate terms, are linked together. And so I hope to add a little insight in your mind, at any rate, to that this morning. But I want to start out by saying freedom isn't basically just doing whatever you want, whenever you want to do it. You know, there's a freedom from, which is very different from the freedom to. So, in this world, if everyone were suddenly given total freedom, you would have a lot of responses or reactions in expressing freedom from. And we would probably experience a fair degree of chaos, at least for a while. It's very, very different than being free to. See, true freedom can only be experienced when you take absolute total responsibility for everything. And that includes take total responsibility for your experience and take total responsibility for the experience that other people are having. By the way, it doesn't mean make them feel good or you haven't done your job. It just means recognize that you're responsible. In order to do this and to be at peace with it, you've got to somehow know that there really is good in you. That you really are, as the second unity principle says, you really are God expressing in this world. And you also need to know if that's true for you, it's true for everyone else that's being affected by your expression of freedom. There's good, only good, in all of it. Sometimes having a tough time to express itself, but only good in there. And our job is to go beyond those burps, those hesitations in expressing, to get to the good. Any of you ever done plumbing work or had plumbing work done in your house? Yeah. You know, what happens, they clean out the pipes and all that kind of stuff. And when you turn the water on, first thing after they've hooked everything back up again, what happens? Yeah, spit, sputter, air, sometimes gunk, stuff like that. Same thing with our spiritual pipes. If you've been down and out of service for a little while, and you're getting back into the swing of things, you might spit and sputter and a little air or hot air or, a little muddy stuff comes out until it finally runs clear. The biggest mistake we make is to hear that spit and sputter and turn it back off and say, I'll never turn it on again. We have to trust that it will eventually run clear and no longer shut ourselves down. That's the only cause of spit and sputter, is we shut ourselves down. If you never do that again, if you never disconnect again, it'll all run clear. Freedom without any responsibility, without any rules, without any structure, probably would lead to some form of chaos. But when you have structure or rules that doesn't have any respect or any fairness or any vision to it, that runs into what we might call tyranny. There's got to be a balance someplace here. Now, looking at the other side of the equation of responsibility, if you have all of this responsibility but no freedom, guess what? That's called martyrdom, I think. You know that, right? Got all this responsibility but no freedom. If you have tons of responsibility but absolute total freedom, it's life, it's open, it's alive, it's dynamic, it's empowering, it's energizing. clear up a potential misconception. Your freedom doesn't require anybody else's permission. Your freedom does not require anybody's permission. And the second half of that is that true responsibility can never be given or foisted on. It can only be self-assumed.
Amen.
I didn't realize this until this morning. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I went through the bulletin and there was a handout from last week. And on the back of your handout last week, you have what's on the back of your handout this week. Lucky you. It's in bigger print last week if you want to go back to your archives, okay? I put in the writing on anyway. Do it anyway. Remember that? Because do it anyway is all about true freedom. Do it anyway says, I can be free. I will let myself be free to do what I'm called to do regardless of what happens in the world out there. And I'll take responsibility for it. By the way, this was originally called Paradoxical Commandments. It was written by a guy named Kenneth Keith. Not Mother Teresa. Not Jesus. Kenneth Keith. He actually did this as a college project. But at any rate, it's good. And it has been attributed to Mother Teresa because she had it on the wall of her room. And I think she actually changed the last line. But real quickly, I want to just go through this, and I want you to be thinking about this in terms of not what you have to do, but in terms of why you don't choose to do what you can do and what you really want to do, and use this to give yourself permission to do it anyway. People are often unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you're kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Ever had that happen? What do you want? Be kind anyway. If you're successful, you'll win some false friends and some true enemies. Be successful anyway. If you're honest and frank, people may cheat you. Be honest and frank anyway. What you spend years building, someone could destroy overnight. Build anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, there may be jealousy. Be happy anyway. The good you do today, people will often forget tomorrow. Do good anyway. Thank you, God is calling. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough. Give the world the best you have anyway. You see, in the final analysis, it is between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. So take a moment to forgive yourself for any of the excuses that you have used to allow you to be spiritually lazy. And let go of your calling. And answer your calling anyway. You know, freedom for some people is absolutely, totally meaningless unless there's freedom for all people. And that's not because we're separate, separate but equal and, all that kind of stuff. It's actually because we are one. If you believe anything at all about the unity principles, there is only one presence and one power, and we're an expression of that. So how can I be free if you're not free? You ever wonder why Jesus and Buddha and Muhammad and all those guys who did a pretty good job of remembering the truth stuck around trying to convince the rest of us? I mean, you could say they're philanthropic, they love us, and all that kind of stuff. But the truth for me is that they actually remembered that they're not separate from me. And until this part of them remembers, they're not free. So they hung around so we would get it. Now, human beings in a body with personalities sometimes don't want our best friends especially to be too awfully free or powerful or creative. I want you happy. Don't get delirious on me, okay? None of this heaven stuff, none of this levitating and stuff like that. I mean, just, keep it real and keep it within the bounds of, what I can handle. See, if you're totally free and if you're totally happy, and I'm not, guess how that makes me feel? Funny, rather than me saying, wow, I want to be just like you, don't we sometimes tend to want to have them be just like us? Tone it down a little. It's an unnatural human response or reaction. And I'm going to say that until we want more than anything else for everyone in our life to be absolutely, totally free, we will never experience total freedom in our own lives. So the other side of your handout, I've given you a little form. I like forms, because then you don't have to think. You just fill in the blanks. Okay? And this form is all about setting the world free. And all you have to do is you have to just pick a name of somebody and you have to remember your own name. We can do that, okay? We can do that.
Most times.
Now, here's the rule that I've made up. Okay, it's all made up anyway. But here's the rule I've made up. Don't censor whose name you put in there. We all want to put in our easy names, okay? Don't. Remember your own name. You don't have to change that. But change the other names you put in there. Try out everybody in your life. And I want you to notice where you have conditions. I want you to notice your own inner dialogue. And see where you're going, yeah, but, or not too much, or I'm not sure. That's where your freedom is. When you clear that up, when you let all of that go, you're free. So you don't have to read it. You can if you get good enough eyes. But I'm going to read it to you, and I want you to fill in the blanks. I want you to pick a favorite person. Pick a challenging person. Come on, guys. This is Sunday morning. I only get one right now, okay? I, fill in your own name. I, Robert, want you, challenging name. You got somebody? To be the highest, clearest, most powerful expression of God that you can be. I would not limit you in any way, knowing that only as I encourage you to expand, explore, and grow can I myself be free. So I fully support you in being and expressing all that you are. You guys still with me? All right, any yeah buts, you get to forgive them, okay? And I want you, challenging person, to go where you feel you're called to go, to speak and act as you are guided, to get a voice when you have none, and to express yourself in whatever way seems right. There is nothing I do not want for you to do, for I know that all movement is contained within God and always leads us to Him. I am at peace with whatever decisions and choices you, challenging person, make, no matter how they may seem to affect me. Since I know that God loves and supports me perfectly, I know that however you choose to be with me must be a manifestation of that divine love and support. Because I trust God, I trust you, and because I trust you, I trust myself. So, be free, be powerful, be unlimited, and know that I, your own name here, want you, challenging person, to be the highest, clearest, most powerful expression of God that you can be. I fully support you in being all that you are. Work this with each person. I don't usually get your home off, do I? Well, I am. Work this with each challenging person in your life until you can say that with no hesitation, no reservations. And then do it again when you get challenged. See, we've set ourselves a pretty lofty goal here. The lofty goal basically is to respond to all things with love. And Betty Lewis said this many, many times. Responsibility is being able and willing to respond with love. Response able. That's very different from reactable, okay? Reacting is really different. It comes from fear, and it has a whole different manifestation. And you guys know all of that, right? So, responding with love. I made a little list. I was curious, so I thought I'd say, what's the brain say? All right, to respond with love. Forgive everyone and everything.
Yeah.
For all time,
Yeah.
including yourself. That's a challenge. I forgive everyone and everything. For all time, including myself. Little things like be courteous, be helpful, open doors. Little things like even if nobody's watching, you do a good job. You do your best. Thank you, Don Miguel Ruiz, for agreements. Keep your agreements. That's how you respond with love. Keep your agreements with yourself and with other people. And I'm going to say probably the most challenging piece that I know for me, a little revelation here. Eliminate all destructive thoughts, words, and behaviors. Now, I would never have a destructive or limiting thought about anybody else. But you should eavesdrop on my mind when I'm forgetting and hear what I say to myself. And if I really remember that we are all one, I've just said that to you. I want to eliminate all of that. All negative, limiting self-talk, whether it's directed at this body or at bodies out there. Eliminate all negative, limiting self-talk. I talked last week about the golden rule. You know, do unto others and all that, treat others as you want to be treated. This is not just about doing. To me, the golden rule also means think about others the way you want to be thought of. That means stop judging, stop complaining, stop gossiping, you know, no negative thinking about yourself or about other people. But forgive all of your thoughts and behaviors that come from those thoughts. Somebody somewhere said there are no private thoughts. If we really are all one, what I think you got right away, instantly, whether I've said it or not. But speaking of saying, golden rule also means say words that you would want to have spoken to you. And first of all, golden rule also means please and thank you. We teach it to our kids and then we forget it as adults. Or we forget it to our kids. So any place you notice it, stop any demanding. For me, by the way, demanding is much more polite. I just have preferences. I need to respectfully request. I need to ask for clarification. And I need to not pretend that I know when I really do not know. All right, a lot of things here. So, responsible behavior. We got a list of responsibilities for children years ago. It's about 5 pages long. And what it does is it says at each age what you could expect reasonably for a child to do, what they're able to do, and what they should learn how to do for themselves, to be responsible. Because every child from infancy can be responsible in some way. You know, one of the first things, responsible behavior is clean up after yourself. I know it's a silly thing, but you understand that's responsible for the environment. That's responsible for the things that you actually own. So your home, your living space, the car is another discussion. But even more important than all of that, clean up after yourself right here between the ears. Don't leave any toxic stuff laying around. If it's garbage, throw it out. And I guess this is the one that's gotten me in the most, that's interesting. It's created the most financial challenges in my entire life. And there have been a couple of these. So I'm going to say that responsible behavior is that you stop expecting other people to do for you what you are unwilling to do for yourself. Stop expecting people or wanting people or hoping people will do for you those things that you are unwilling to do for yourself. I'm going to suggest that if you're not willing to do it, it isn't worth being done. And that means if you're not willing to clean your house, it isn't worth cleaning until it gets in such a state that you're willing to clean your house. You see, there are such things as natural consequences. We live in a world of imposed consequences. See, in natural consequences, I don't take the garbage out and pretty soon my house smells. And imposed consequences, I don't take the garbage out and my spouse yells at me and says, take the garbage out. If you don't want me to yell at you, you'll take the garbage out. Or whatever the game is. We don't do that, by the way, just an example. I like to take the garbage out. I love to take the garbage out. Because I have experienced natural consequences. I love to do the dishes when we're done eating. Nothing's sitting in the sink. Because, see, the natural consequence for me of not doing that is having to sort through dirty dishes to find out what I'm going to eat my next meal on. Or having to take the time when I'm not thinking about it to clean up before I make another mess. So as much as possible, understand that the world is full of natural consequences. And if you trust those, you will respond to what's important to you and let the rest go until it's important to you. Or, by the way, until it's important enough to somebody else to do it. But all you get with imposed consequences, do this or else. You get resistance, and you get more firmly entrenched in the behavior of not doing, in the lack of responsibility. Probably the most important thing, I don't know how to say this, it'll make sense to you. So, the picture I had at one time was if aliens from outer space came down and parked their little hovercraft above my house and chose me as the subject they were going to study for the next month to learn about humanity on Earth, what would they learn? What conclusions would they draw from me watching my life, an experiment of one. And then, because I don't know, they're not up there in their hovercraft watching me, I really want to live my life so that if by chance they are, they get a good impression of what humanity is all about. And some people say, you know, speak as if God were listening. Well, of course God is listening. But we don't always know that. So speak as if God were listening. Speak as if the most respected person in your life were paying absolute attention to every thought, word, and deed. Would that change things? You know, sometimes we say and do things in context where there isn't anybody around that we care about. So pretend like they're always there. It's my morning for stories, I guess, because I remember this other little story about this monk who had, I don't know where, it doesn't make any difference. You know, up in the mountains where they always have these kind of things. You know, these monk things go on in the mountains. He had all these little kids in this ashram, and he's raising all these little boys. And he brought them all together one night, and he said, look, things are really tough here in the ashram. You know, they're not putting much food in our bowl. We're not getting much money to buy food. The garden's pretty much dried up. It's tough times, so what I need you guys to do is I need you guys to go out tonight when nobody's looking. And I need you to steal food so we can live. My boys are going, yes, master. Okay, I mean, that's it. I mean, say, do it, do it. And they all left except this one little boy. And Monk said to him, so what's, you know, get going. He says, Master, I'm confused. Where can I go that no one will see me? The Master said, that's what I want. You have no private thoughts. Your life is not private. Everything you think, say, and do teaches all the universe. So I want to close by just saying, when you, personally you, not us collectively, because then it's easy to say, well, they'll do it when I forget. No. When you, personally, express only love in this world, then there will be